My name is Cadence Roy, and today I'm an 8th grader from HFS, and today I will be reading an excerpt from my novel Rapsody, Sonnet. So it's sort of a coming-of-age story. It's about a girl, obviously her name is Rapsody, and she's a wannabe poet. Well, not really wannabe. She's pretty good. But she experiences some judgment about her choices and the things she wants to do in life, but I hope that she can push through eventually, and I will begin now. So we'll begin where it's a flashback of her graduating from the 8th grade. So some interesting things begin. Graduate.
Hold it closer.
In front of her or behind her? Why don't you turn the podium just a little bit so you don't have to, you can still lean on it. Yeah.
Graduating from the 8th grade was a milestone to be remembered. There Rapsody was, exiting junior high, almost ready to start up somewhere different. Her mother was beaming in the crowd, Sister Rose standing next to her, smiling just as big. The flash of multiple cameras was nowhere as bright as her mother's smile and wild green eyes, almost the same as Rapsody's, except Rapsody had acquired the hazel green eyes of her father, a man she hadn't seen in years. She put on a semblance of a smile, and she realized she hadn't seen her father in the sea of faces. Rapsody looked at her friends. Smiles were exchanged, but inside the trio truly was upset, for they were to move soon. Sure, they could stay in contact through telephone, but it truly wasn't the same thing as seeing them in person. So now Rapsody would have to adjust to a brand new school, brand new people, and brand new restrictions regarding her hair mentioned in the last chapter. She tried to look at the positive. The attendance of high school determines your future to some extent. It depends on how hard you work, and after this, college would happen. Her mother had attended Temple University, specifically the Lewis Katz School of Medicine. Miss Sinclair was the second generation in the medical field. Rapsody's grandmother had been a nurse previously, but perhaps Rapsody could change that. Her family wouldn't have a third generation in the medical field, but have part of the posterity write for a living. Rapsody knew that with writing there is this lack of control. There is not a guarantee that payment will be due at the end of the week. And there is no guarantee that a book you write or a poem you compose will be a best-selling work of art. But when you persevere and continue to do this job, and know that these things regarding money can be an issue, well, that's when you know you love something. Rapsody quickly scolded herself in her mind over chewing thoughts at such an hour. She realized her face had been frowning when a picture was taken and immediately regretted overthinking during her 8th grade graduation. Hopefully her mother had taken photos where her face wasn't twisted into a complete grimace. The head of school made a concluding statement and made everyone in the audience clap for the graduates for about a 4th time. Then after the applause, he dismissed everyone to receive a small morsel of cake. Rapsody walked over to her family, well, a piece of her family. Her father still hadn't attended, or so she thought. After her mother had given her a hug and a kiss and said, "Love, love, love you," which was 2 more than usual, a man she had at one point called her dad walked through the crowd to see her. Rapsody's father was close in distance-related proximity, but in many other kinds of proximities, distant. His visit was more shocking than the lightning storm that was to arrive tomorrow in the evening. "Rapsody, you look very nice, my amazing little 9th grader." He chuckled a bit. "I've never been more proud," he said with a big smile that left creases underneath his eyes, the same eyes that Rapsody had always possessed. "Thanks, Dad," Rapsody said with her eyes still slightly in shock. She hugged him for the first time in a while. Rapsody visited him occasionally, but never really connected to him. Despite how short their conversation, this was the first time in a very long time she had actually connected with her father, her dad, and Rapsody was glad of that.
All right, thank you, Cadence. What a great start to Humanities Night. Don't you just want to read the rest of that novel?
Yes.
All right, so up next.